To the mothers and all the women who've cared for us. To the grandmothers, the spiritual mothers, and the waiting mothers. To the foster moms, the single moms, and the stepmoms. To the mentors, friends, guardians, and guides. To those who loved us, taught us, and showed us the way. To those who carried us, held our hand, and watched us grow. To those who experienced blessing this year, and to those who went through loss. To the heroic women all around us, we want to say, thank you. Thank you for your courage, your kindness, and your faith in God. Thank you for shaping us, nurturing us, and walking with us through life. Thank you for showing us what it looks like to love and follow Jesus. Thank you for your prayers, your wisdom, and for never giving up on us. Thank you for boldly stepping into this high and holy calling. Thank you for the long nights and the short years, and for the incredible joy. Whether this is a day of reflection, rejoicing, or remembering, we acknowledge you, we honor you, and we thank you today. Happy Mother's Day.
A mother got on a bus with her child. The driver says, "That is the ugliest baby I've ever seen." The woman sits down enraged. She says to the man next to her, "That driver just insulted me." He says, "You go over and give him a piece of your mind. I'll hold your monkey." The children directed Mom to stay in bed on Mother's Day. As she lay there looking forward to breakfast, the smell of bacon rose from the kitchen. But after a while, she finally got up, went to the kitchen, and there were her two darlings. They explained, "For Mother's Day, we decided to cook our own breakfast." Sue and Tom invited their friends to dinner. It had been a difficult day, but they decided to proceed with plans. At dinner, Tom turned to their 6-year-old daughter and asked, "Would you like to say the blessing?" "I wouldn't know what to say." He says, "Oh, just say what you hear Mommy and Daddy say." The daughter bowed her head. "Lord, why did we invite all these people to dinner?" The Monroes live on a farm in Darlington, Maryland. She's the mother of 8 children. She came home one afternoon from the grocery store. Hubby had been working and watching the kids somewhat. It was a little bit quieter than usual, so she looked in the family room and 5 of her children were sitting in a circle. So she put down the groceries to walk over and found them playing with 5 baby skunks. Without thinking, she shrieked, "Run, children, run!" So each child grabbed a skunk and ran. So she screamed more frantically, "No!" and scared the children so much that each of them squeezed their skunk. And as the writer put it, skunks don't like to be squeezed. Somebody said the hardest part of being a mother is labor and delivery, but someone never watched her child head off to school. Someone said being a mother is boring. Someone never tried to teach a teenager how to drive. Somebody said a mother's job is done when her last child leaves home, but somebody never had grandchildren. So happy Mother's Day, foster mothers, adopting mothers, stepmothers, mentoring mothers, grandmothers, although aren't all mothers grand. Open your Bibles to Mark chapter 7. We're going to continue our verse-by-verse study, and fortunately, today's text involves a mother. And so there are insights for us all, whether we're a mother or not, but I'm going to make the applications geared toward a mother in honor of Mother's Day. This incident is also recorded in Matthew 15, so we're going to refer to that when it's helpful. So let's read Mark 7:24. And from there he arose, that is Jesus, and went away to the region of Tyre and Sidon. And he entered a house and didn't want anyone to know, yet he could not be hidden. But immediately a woman whose little daughter had an unclean spirit heard of him and came and fell down at his feet. Now the woman was a Gentile, a Syrophoenician by birth, and she begged him to cast the demon out of her daughter. And he said to her, "Let the children be fed first, for it's not right to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs." But she answered him, "Yes, Lord, yet even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs." And he said to her, "For this statement, you may go your way. The demon has left your daughter." And she went home and found the child lying in bed and the demon gone. So let's understand, shall we? Verse 24, so from his home base in Capernaum, Jesus arose, he went away to the region of Tyre and Sidon. Now the reason Mark's going to tell us that fact is they want us to understand we're leaving the region of the Jews and going to a region of Gentiles. The region of Tyre and Sidon, it was also referred to as Phoenicia. Centuries before that, the people were called the Canaanites. And the region, it was still within the promised land of Israel. However, it was now largely populated by Gentiles, non-Jews. So let's remember last week's teaching that Mark has grouped these teachings together. He was talking about Jesus declared all foods clean, meaning that in the new covenant, in his blood, we would no longer be required to follow the old covenant dietary laws that God had given to Moses for the nation of Israel. In today's text, Jesus is going to address the disciples' view of the Gentiles. So he's going to do so by taking them to a place populated by Gentiles, and he's going to minister to a faith-filled Gentile woman. David Guzik gives understanding. Just as a Jew would never soil his lips with forbidden food, so he would never soil his life by contact with unclean Gentiles. But here, Jesus is relating to Gentiles. Now, one thing is that Mark wants to assure his Gentile readers that the good news was for them just as it was for this woman. So here's the story, and it's true. So Jesus entered the house, and he didn't want anyone to know, yet he could not be hidden. For even there, his fame has spread. I mean, he has healed the sick. He's raised the dead. And so word about him has traveled throughout the land. So when he arrives to this area, he's recognized and word gets out about him. Now, in particular, verse 25, immediately a woman whose little daughter had an unclean spirit heard of him and came and fell at his feet. Now, Mark, when he records it here, he's not led to give her confession of faith, but Matthew is. So if we refer to Matthew 15 and we see how Matthew recorded the incident, here's what the woman said when she approached Jesus. "Have mercy on me, O Lord, Son of David." Wait, Son of David? Well, that's the term the Jews used for the Messiah. So this Gentile woman is graced by God to believe that Jesus is Lord and that he is the promised Messiah. So that's her opening confession, and so I think that's worth making an application. The incredible value of a mother who believes in Jesus with a genuine faith. She's not just religious, she has a relationship with Christ. She's repented, she's believed, she's saved. And I wonder for just a moment, how many of us were blessed to have a Christian mother or grandmother that influenced us? I was blessed to have both who prayed for me, who lived their faith before me, who exemplified how to walk by faith. So she obviously, this woman here, obviously trusts Jesus because she's going to go to him. And so that's the second point, the incredible value of a mother who, number one, believes in Jesus with a genuine faith, and from that faith seeks Jesus on behalf of her family. You think about practically, who's praying for your children? Well, they were given to you, so it's your role to pray for them, really, all the days of their lives. This woman, you think, so she lives in the area, Jesus has arrived, she hears of him, and so she's going to leave her daughter, who's in a dire circumstance, and she's going to go and she's going to seek Jesus, and she's going to make her appeal directly to him. When Matthew records the condition of the little girl, he says that she's severely oppressed. So this is a dire situation, and the mother's heart is troubled. And there will be times in life, mothers, we understand, that your heart is troubled by the dire situation in one or more of your children. It just goes with the territory. That's part of being a mother. And so her heart is troubled, and she's going to go and seek Jesus. And really, how many of us today pause and reflect on our mothers who sacrificed their time to seek the Lord, who loved us deeply, who made a priority for ministering to us and the children that she was given, which is us. Verse 25 again, but immediately a woman whose little daughter had an unclean spirit heard of him and came and fell at his feet. Now that's interesting because when Jairus, who was a ruler of the synagogue, went to Jesus on behalf of his dying daughter, he too fell at Jesus' feet. So something's going on here, and we understand that this is a cultural expression of profound humility and desperation. So the incredible value of a mother is one who believes in Jesus with a genuine faith, who seeks Jesus on behalf of her family, and who humbles herself before him. We're told in 1 Peter 3 that a woman of great value is one that by the grace of God learns to have a gentle, meek, humble, quiet spirit. Doesn't mean she doesn't talk, but it just means there's a reverence and a respect about her life. She's not proud, she's not haughty, she's not brass, she's not inappropriately outspoken. She has learned to be quiet, to be gentle, to be meek, to be humble. And you think about a mother who learns that she's not sufficient, that the Lord is the one who will make her sufficient and adequate, that she's not able to just rely on herself and her own resources. She needs the Lord. I think one of the best things that my wife said yesterday at the Mother's Day lunch was just the relief when she remembered that she wasn't God to our children. She simply wasn't fully adequate for everything they needed. And what a relief it was that that's not the way God designed it. Oh, every mother is imperfect. She's not God, and so she needs God, and her children need God. And that's the way God designed it. And so a mother's goal is to be as much for her children as she can be, but understanding no matter how much you are, you will never be enough. They still need God. You can't replace him. And that really is a relief, that you can turn to the Lord and you'll humble yourself before him. You're not ashamed to acknowledge, I need the Lord. I need the Lord as a mother. And I know that I watched my wife as we journeyed through. We really stopped having children at 4, and then we got pregnant with number 5. We stopped having children at 5, gave everything away. We got pregnant with number 6, and we lived in shock for 9 months. Just like, okay, we know how this happened, but this is, okay, Lord, you have to know what you're doing. And I can just remember watching my wife, and really even myself. She carried so much more, having to carry the child and all that a woman walks through. And I just marveled at her growing faith, her growing dependence on the Lord and trusting Him for His sufficiency. Then you think about it, how did this mother know the child was demonized? And the answer is not practical. The answer is spiritually, she had discernment. I mean, it's one thing to know what your children need physically and even what they need emotionally, but it's also understanding that our children are spiritual beings. I mean, when God breathed into Adam and Eve, Adam the breath of life, and then Eve was given life, that's not just physical life, it's spiritual life. People say, oh, we're just nothing but physical bodies and brain and matter and emotions. It's all physical. And when we die, that's it. They don't see the spiritual realm. They don't understand that we are spiritual beings that live beyond the grave. And so you have discernment. This mother has discernment about her child, and her child is in need. It's the incredible value of a mother who believes in Jesus with a genuine faith. She seeks Jesus on behalf of her family. She humbles herself before Him, and she discerns the spiritual condition and the needs of her children. To this day, I still marvel. There is something about a mother that knows. She just knows. And if she is born again by the Spirit and she has the Spirit of God within her, she has the ability to discern what's going on in the spiritual realm. And she's able to actually discern the deepest needs of her children, which are spiritual. They need the Lord. They need to learn to walk by faith. They need to learn to pray and trust Him. You think she begins to see those needs. And I will tell you, I learned from her, if I would listen, and because I realized that she was better at it than me. And rather than beating myself up, that realized I'm just not as good at it as she was. But there are times that we would be dealing with a child, and she would be in prayer, and I'm just looking at it practically, and she would provide insight. Well, let me just tell you what I think this child is going through spiritually. And she would express that discernment, and I just had a variety of responses. Number one, I felt guilty that I didn't see what she saw. And then I realized, well, she sees it, and she's sharing it with me. And I would remember, children are more than just physical, emotional beings. They're spiritual beings, and they need ministry. And we would talk about how do we minister to our children, as well as practically keeping them alive and fed and watered and all the things that you have to do for children. And she provided that discernment, and I would often learn just by listening to her and realizing she would see things. And even to this day, all our children are grown, they're all married, they're gone, and we're all both in contact with them, and we're on the phone always calling them, talking to them, relating to them. And I marvel at, to this day, the discernment. She can hang up the phone. You know, I talked to, and she'll mention a child, and I discern that this child needs. Let's just pray about that right now. And we'll pause, or that night in our prayer time, we have a prayer time each night, that we'll just go before the Lord and just lift up that child, just discerning there's more than just practically, there's a spiritual need there, and we'll pray for that. And we realize that is a part of our role as the parents, even of our grown children. 26. Now the woman was, and the Greek word is there, Hellenis. She's a Greek, she's a Gentile, she's a non-Jew, a Syrophoenician by birth, and she begged him to cast the demon out of her daughter. Now in that scene, think of it practically, she's before Jesus, he's right there, and she's talking to him. It really is a picture of prayer, because you and I can do the same thing. We just can't see Jesus, because he's there, but we don't see him. But it really is a sense that this woman has gone before the Lord, and it's picturing for us a woman who prays. So it's the incredible value of a mother who believes in Jesus with a genuine faith. She seeks Jesus on behalf of her family. She humbles herself before him. She discerns the spiritual condition and needs of her children, and she prays. She prays to the Lord for his intervention. And when both Matthew and Mark write this, it says she begged, she pleaded. It's a stronger word than just the word ask, and it conveys the idea that she's passionate about what she's praying for. And you realize there are times you pray for your children practically, but then when there's a significant need, you pray with more passion. And you think, have you ever seen your mother pray passionately, fervently, pouring out her heart on behalf of her child or her children? Oh, to have a praying mother. You know, about 1,000 years before Jesus arrived, we read and studied from 1 Samuel 1 the story of Hannah. And the sad part about Hannah, she was barren. She couldn't have children. And in that culture, she was viewed as being cursed by God. And so that was difficult. And then she was sadly, in a polygamous marriage. So there was another wife on the scene, and that wife just abused her and berated her and mocked her for being barren. So she lived with that pain. Fortunately, her husband loved her, and that was kind of a redeeming grace that helped her in the situation. But still she was barren, and she prayed and she prayed and she kept asking the Lord. Finally, one time she goes to the temple, as you can remember, and she's praying so fervently that the priest thinks she's drunk, and he rebukes her. And she has to explain, I'm not drunk. I'm just praying fervently that the Lord would open my womb and give me a child. And God gives a word to the priest and says, you're going to have a child. And she was given Israel's first prophet. And understand that God heard and answered her prayer, but it came over time. And it's the idea that she asked and kept on asking. She wouldn't stop crying out. And that really is the incredible value of a mother who believes in Jesus with a genuine faith. She seeks Jesus on behalf of her family. She humbles herself before him. She discerns the spiritual condition and needs of her children. She prays to the Lord for his intervention, and she perseveres in prayer. She doesn't give up. It's not a one-time request, and it's not like the Lord's keeping track. Oh, once you reach a certain number, I'm going to answer the prayer. She prays for herself because her heart is moved. She again affirms that she's believing the Lord to move, and that is part of the mystery of prayer that we are invited to ask and keep on asking. So sitting over there was Wade Butler. And he was in our church about 10 years before his wife passed away. He moved north, and you might remember him, Wade. But anytime I would talk about my children and any of my children struggling or whatever, he would come and in private give me the lecture. And it started, and for about 10 years he gave me the little lecture. And I got to the point where I always looked forward to it. And he would say, Pastor Jim, now remember, I was lost. I was a drunk for 36 years, and my mother and my grandmother kept praying for me, and the Lord saved me. Don't give up on your children. Keep praying, okay? Yes, Wade. Thank you for that word. And I got that so many times. Look at that. I'm telling it to you. And I thought it was such an encouragement. But he was firm in that he was passionate. The idea, don't give up on your children. And you think about mothers. They don't wash their hands of their children, do they? They just keep praying. They just keep believing the Lord on behalf of their children. They persevere in prayer. And that really is a part of the ways that the Lord has called us to pray. I think of Matthew 7 and 8, where it says, ask, and the verb tense is, and keep on asking, and it will be given. Not the idea that you ask enough and God will give, but just stay with God in prayer because his timing is perfect. He knows, and you just keep praying. Seek and keep on seeking, and you will find. Knock, keep on knocking, and the door will be opened to you. So notice God's the one that opens the door. Notice it's not a promise that you get whatever you want or you get whatever you ask for. You get what God deems best, and in reality, that is what's best. And so we don't want to hold on to what we think is best. Ultimately, we trust the Lord. For everyone who asks and keeps on asking receives. And the one who seeks and keeps on seeking finds. And to the one who knocks and keeps on knocking, the door will be opened. So don't grow weary in prayer. The final portion of this narrative is a reminder that the promised Messiah was sent first to the Jews, and that explains this interaction that Jesus gives. You might have studied it in the last hour, and you already understand, but I'll give a brief explanation. 27, and Jesus said to her, "Let the children be fed first, for it is not right to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs." Now, when she says, let the children of God, that's the Israelites, they are fed first. I like what Tim Keller writes. Jesus was saying to her, there is an order to this. I'm going to Israel first, then to the Gentiles, the other nations later. And if you think about it, the scriptures we know confirm that. Romans 1:16. For I am not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God for salvation to everyone who believes, to the Jew first, and then to the Gentiles, or the Gentile, the Greek. So Jesus used this metaphor as he talks to the mother. She says, okay, when you feed your children, in that culture, I'll remind you, dogs were not pets. So they were pests. And they had to be shooed away, but they would run the region. And so dogs were around. Some were more dangerous than others. And it was common in that culture that if they would eat and crumbs would fall, the dogs would come and they would eat it. And so Jesus uses the analogy, but what's brilliant about it is that when the Jews criticized the Gentiles, they said, "You dogs!" And that was a term of derision. When Jesus uses the word, the English doesn't do it justice. It's like puppies. So he's not using that same word of derision. It's a diminutive. It's a lesser word. And so there is a respect. Jesus isn't being unkind. He's just acknowledging, I came first to the Jews and then to the Gentiles. And that's the way this plays out. And so he's reminding the woman, let the children, you wouldn't take your children, you wouldn't feed the dogs first. You feed your children first. And then so what you're asking me is, feed you. You're a Gentile. I'm feeding the children first. But she has a comeback that Jesus commends her for great faith. So we need to try to understand it. So what did she say? But she, verse 28, answered him, "Yes, Lord." Well, now that's fascinating. First of all, yes acknowledges Jesus' statement. She understood the Messiah was coming to the Jews first. Yes, Lord, meaning I'm making a request. It's not a demand. I have no right to demand that. You're the Lord, not me. So I'm not demanding anything. I'm making my request. So yes, Lord, brilliant, humble, appropriate. Then she follows Jesus' analogy by appealing with her need. Yet even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs. The idea that I'm there and I understand it goes to them first. I like the way Tim Keller writes it. He says she needed something now, not later. So her appeal is, I get it. You're coming to the Jews first and then the Gentiles. And I'm a Gentile, I understand that. But right now, I need crumbs. I need bread. And I'm making my appeal. I've asked for mercy. And she's not saying, Lord, give me what I deserve on the basis of my goodness. She's saying, Lord, give me what I don't deserve on the basis of your goodness. And Jesus gives her the greatest commendation that he gave on earth. He gives several commendations. This is fascinating. Here's what Matthew writes. "O woman, great is your faith. Be it done for you as you desire." And her daughter was healed instantly. Mark records in verse 29, and he said to her, "For this statement, you may go your way. The demon has left your daughter." And she went home and found the child lying in bed and the demon gone. The power of Jesus expressed over distance, the authority of Jesus demonstrated over demons, the commendation of Jesus spoken to this humble, believing Gentile woman, the incredible value of a mother who believes in Jesus with a genuine faith, who seeks Jesus on behalf of her family, who humbles herself before him, who discerns the spiritual need or the condition and needs of her children, who prays to the Lord for his intervention, who perseveres in prayer with great faith in Jesus. Oh, woman, great is your faith, your belief in me as Lord and Master, your trust of me in this situation, your confidence that I can do what you've asked me to do. So today we thank God for every believing, humble, discerning, praying, persevering mother. No wonder Proverbs 31:28, her children arise and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive, beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. Little Paul forgot the lines in the church play. His mother was sitting near the front. She whispered the cue, "I am the light of the world." Paul beamed, "My mother is the light of the world." So mothers, thank you. Thank you for every way you express the light of Christ to your family, to those in your sphere of influence. It is appreciated. We'd like to pray for you. So we're not going to embarrass you. We're not going to ask you to come forward, but would you just stand where you are? So we'd like to invite all mothers, please stand now. And we see you in the balcony as well. Beauty rising. Beautiful. Beautiful. We'd like to pray for you. Father, thank you for every mother here this morning, as well as those who could not be here. We are thankful for their faith, their hope, and their love. We thank you for the ways they have helped and served and expressed your grace and mercy to their families. We thank you for their service, the sacrifices they have made, small and significant, to bless our lives. So we ask that you would bless them, encourage their hearts. For those women preparing to become mothers or mothers again, bless them in their journey. For those facing the daily challenges of parenting, give them wisdom and strength and perseverance to remain faithful to their calling. For those with empty nests, show them how to continue to nurture and bless their grown children and grandchildren. May their lives continue to honor you, follow your word, and reflect your glory. We pray this in faith in Jesus' name. Amen. Let's all stand together.
Come unto Jesus, all you who are weary. to heal. Joy of the comfortless, light for the straying, hope of the penitent, peace in our strife. Here speaks the Comforter, tenderly saying, my yoke is easy, my burden is light. Come unto Jesus, come unto Jesus. Lay down your burdens, He is enough. Come unto Jesus, rest in His love. Come taste the bread of life broken for sinners. Drink from the cup of His promise made sure. Feast at His table as sons and as daughters. Grace overflowing is yours evermore. Come unto Jesus. Come unto Jesus. Lay down your burdens. He is enough. Come unto Jesus. Rest in His love. Or an awesome invitation. Come and follow. Come now and follow Him, this life forsaking. All that was gained, 'cause nothing is lost. Trade all this world for His kingdom unfading. Come unto Jesus, take up your cross. Come unto Jesus, take up your cross. Life everlasting He offers to us. Come unto Jesus. Come unto Jesus. Lay down your burdens. He is enough. Come unto Jesus. Rest in His love. Come unto Jesus. Come unto Jesus. Lay down your burdens. He is enough. Come unto Jesus. Rest in His love. Come unto Jesus. Rest in His love. Rest in His love.
And well, thanks for worshiping with us this morning. Mothers, we love having you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for receiving the word of the Lord that hopefully encourages your heart to greater faith in Him. If someone needs prayer, we'll have prayer partners after the service. We'd be delighted to visit with you, to pray with you. Make sure you get your picture taken. If you'd like to, post it online. Talk about the Lord, church, ministry, and just a way of letting our light shine out in the world. So thank you again for worshiping with us. And thank you, Lord, for ministering to our hearts today. We are grateful for you and what you mean to us and how you work in us. You are wonderful, and we praise you. And now may the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make His face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And the Lord lift up His countenance upon you and give you peace. Go in peace. God bless you, church.